Hey, teenagers, young people, thank you so much for watching these episodes. And I cannot go on without wish you all a happy, and a blessed new year. Have an amazing year. May this year be an year of greater favor, of a greater breakthrough, right? Now, we started something last year, the end of last year, we started something called the 5 killers in our walk, in our track that can stop us. 5 killers. And the first killer we talked about is unconfessed sin. The second killer that I want to talk about today is disobedience. Disobedience is a killer. Now, when I say disobedience, I'm not just simply talking about, I'm not listening to my dad, I'm not listening to my mom. No, I'm not simply not talking about that kind of a disobedience. That also is wrong. I'm not just simply addressing that. I'm talking about we knowing that we have to do something, we have to go in that certain direction, but we disobey in our own hearts, disobey in our own thinking, disobey in our own places where we know what we need to do, but we still don't know or we still don't do what we need to do. That kind of a disobedience is what I'm talking about. I read something, here in this place, and it just said, you can't just twist your places to keep doing what you need to do. I love this little illustration that's here. There was this lady, making some decisions, and as she was making some decisions, and she said, I have a stick. So she drew a circle, and then she just said, I'm going to throw the stick. So if the stick falls inside the circle, then I will do this. And if the stick falls outside the circle, then I will do that. That's what she said. And then she threw the stick in such a way that it fell inside the circle because that's what she wanted to do. And somebody looked at her, a friend looked at her and said, hey, you're cheating and things like that. He said, no, really, I'm not. And then she changed it and she said, okay, I'll throw it again. Now I will do what, when it falls outside, I'll do it that. And then when it falls inside, I'll do this. Now again, she threw in such a way that the stick was falling outside the circle, because she wanted to do. See, you see what the problem is? The problem is at the end of the day, we want to do what we want to do. We cannot disobey in our own spaces, against our own consciousness, against the law of the Heavenly Father, the law of God, against the things that the Lord has for us. We have to come to that place to acknowledge. Now, disobedience is a killer. My teenager, my young person, disobedience is a killer. I don't know what are those places you are disobeying. What are those places where you think that you have taken things and you reason it out and you're working things out and you're saying, I think this is right, I think this is wrong, I'm not like that person, I'm not like this person. And all of those excuses and everything that you're bringing in, I'm sorry. You need to listen to your heart. You know where you're disobeying. You need to start making those decisions. You need to walk in that place of obedience. Now, what is obedience? Obedience is going in the right direction for a longer period of time in that same posture till you begin to see some change in you. That's obedience. You hear what I said? Till you begin to see the change in you, not just in the circumstances. Obedience brings change in us, not just our circumstances. Sometimes we obey because we want the circumstances to change. Obedience brings the change in us. And disobedience brings the change in us, where we begin to go on and on. I've said this several times. It's never the sudden dip. It's always the gradual slope. It's over a period of time that we miss the mark. And disobedience is a killer on that place. Sometimes we don't even know we are disobeying. It's in smaller places that we have disobeyed, which is piled up to a bigger place where we don't even have the heart. I just want to say this. If you really want to know where you have disobeyed, go before your Heavenly Father. Go before the Heavenly Father. Let Him bring that conviction in your heart where you will begin to know that this is not the right place. Yesterday I was writing an email. It was a very long email. I was writing to someone who can help us in a certain way, and that person had asked me to do something, so I was writing a proposal to see what it is. It took a long time, almost 2.5 hours, and I put this huge proposal, with some numbers, with some, things that they can pay for what I'm going to do them, and things like that. And after I had written all of that, after I just sat there in my office and I just said, Lord, am I writing this right? Or am I twisting the arm? Am I manipulating? Am I doing this right? And I had a very strong conviction. No, the numbers that you're putting are not great. You need to be just, you need to be open, you need to be transparent, you need to be right. And I immediately changed the whole email. I changed the whole email. And I redid the whole email, and I had to talk to somebody else with whom I shared that email and call them and just say, hey, I have changed this because I don't feel that this is right. See, it's in that little spaces of obedience that God begins to bless. It's in that little spaces of obedience. Please understand, disobedience is a killer. As you start this 2023, right in the beginning, it'll be good for you to sit with your journal and say, what are those places where I have assumed and presumed and I've taken things in my own hand and I'm disobeying and walking in the certain direction. Sometimes I'm not walking, sometimes I'm just flying in a certain direction, which may not be the right direction. Check out, be careful. Disobedience is a killer. You are an amazing person, and I believe you can rectify. I can rectify. Thank you for watching this.